It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's Foster Talk with Dr. John. Hey, we're here live Tuesday night answering your questions. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, founder and director of the Foster Care Institute. And let me tell you, foster parenting can be challenging. Foster parenting can be hard. Yes, foster parents say, hey, I need help. I need support. I need people to surround me and give me peace. That's what we do tonight. That's what we are here for. We are a foster parent support group. Think of it as your personal support group live right here every Tuesday night, 7 to 7:30 p.m. I'm so glad that you have joined us tonight. You know, if you don't know my story, I've been a foster parent myself to about 60 plus children. Of course, I got my doctorate in foster care, written lots and lots of books. But, you know, I've lived that lifestyle as a foster parent. I've walked in your shoes on a day-to-day basis, and I recognize the very unique lifestyle that foster parents face. And let me underline that word, lifestyle. Foster parenting is a different kind of lifestyle than anybody else can really understand. Your friends, your family members, those people who are closest to you, those people who think they know what you do as a foster parent. Hey, here's the truth. They really don't understand it. They really don't appreciate what you and I do as foster parents. When we bring children into our home, children who are suffering from trauma, children who have experienced anxiety, children who have issues of attachment, trust, anger management issues, sleep anxieties, eating disorders, other types of disorders and anxieties. It is hard. It is hard. It can be hard on our family. It can be hard on our marriage. It can be hard on our work. It can be hard on our relationships. It can be hard on ourselves. That's why it's so important that we come together as a support group, if you will, to help each other out as foster parents. So that's what we're going to do. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to answer your questions. We're going to be your support group. I want to say hello to Mary. I see that Mary has joined us tonight. Stacy's here. Hey, Stacy. Allison is here. Aaron. Hey, Aaron. Hello, Derek is here as well. I see that Amber is here. So glad you joined us. So our rules are simple. Rule number one, any question you want to ask, no questions off limits, parenting, foster care, adoption, kinship. You want to ask questions about me as a foster parent, how I may have handled it with 60 plus kids, including 11, that's not two, that's 11 at the same time in my own house, 7 in diapers. You want to hear ask how I handled it? Anything and everything, we're answering your questions. Rule number two, go ahead and tag somebody that you know as a foster parent. Invite them to join us tonight, because the more people we have joining us tonight, the stronger our support group is. And finally, the third rule, my favorite rule, I know a lot of you like this rule, if somebody asks a question in the next 30 minutes, or if somebody makes a statement in the next 30 minutes, you think, Dr. John, wait, Dr. John, wait, I know the answer to that. I've been there, done that. We want to hear exactly from you. We want to hear how you did it. I'd love to hear your advice. You know, one of the things I love about traveling the country and the globe, working with foster care agencies, working with foster parents, training those people, I love to sit down and hear stories from you. Yes, I've written all those books and I've done all those training hours and all that, but I learn the most when I'm able to surround myself with wonderful people like you. So with that in mind, get your fingers flying. Ask anything you need, any question you might have. We are here to make sure, hey, Daisy, glad you're here this night, Stacy. We're here to make sure you get the answers that you need tonight so you can care for the kids in your home tomorrow, the next week, the next month, whatever it might be. And it doesn't have to be something that you're currently going through. Maybe it's something that you've experienced in the past and you would love to hear some more insight about it. Whatever it is, again, no questions off limits. We want to hear from you. So with that in mind, let's hear from you. All right. Danny says, love the pinball machine. Well, Danny, thank you so much. I've had it since I was a wee little one. Yeah, I think maybe I got it maybe 45 years ago. Yes, so it's in my library, as you can see here. I love it. Yeah, time to play. Play therapy is so important. It helps me to relax, helps me to unwind. It's a little bit of self-care for me, if you will. So appreciate that, Danny. Okay, let's get to your questions tonight. Sonia asks this: purchasing a home so I have more space for more children. Well, Sonia, I tell you what I can't do. I can't go and buy that house for you yourself. But I can tell you this though, Sonia, there's that misconception that you have to have a big house to be a foster parent. That's anything but the truth. You don't have to have a big house. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to be married, whatever it might be. Okay, those are misconceptions. So think about the size of the house that you do have, and then go from there, and think about, okay, how many kids can I have? Now, again, we've had 11 kids in our house at the same time, and we've had to find some places for the kids to sleep over the years. All right, appreciate you asking, Sonia. Let me know how it goes. But again, I can't help you there in purchasing your house, okay? Um, so we have a question here from Allison. I'm sorry, from Danielle. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Danielle. How do you handle or secure electronics with teenagers? Wants to bring a switch that is at mom's house, but I can't admin and shut that down. Tablets, TV, etc. And Danielle, appreciate you asking. We actually addressed that in the book, Keeping Foster Children Safe Online. Keeping Foster Children Safe Online. I think, Danielle, that this is the most relevant issue facing foster care today. That is social media. That is online technology. Danielle, you and I've said this over and over again, you and I might live in an online world, but our children, inhabit that world. There's a big difference. You and I live in an online world. Our children inhabit that world. So, you certainly need to set boundaries. You have to have rules. In that book, Keeping Foster Children Safe Online, we have a number of rules that you might want to print out. In fact, we have a list of rules that you print out and you sign. You have the child house sign as well. You can let the caseworker know that you feel uncomfortable about having to switch. When it comes to phones, when it comes to tablets, when it comes to computers, there's a time to play and a time not to play. There should be no phone or no computer in the children's home. I'm sorry, in the children's bedroom. Those things are charged in maybe your room or charged in the kitchen. For example, maybe at 9 o'clock at night you say, okay, all electronic devices off and stored in the kitchen for charging, okay? That way they don't have access to it late at night, because here's the most important. We don't know who those children are communicating with late at night. We don't know who those children have access to late at night. We don't know who's contacting those children, right? Late at night. So it's really important that you keep those devices in a place at nighttime. Also monitor their use. You need to be monitoring their use and making sure who they are communicating with, right? In addition, if you feel uncomfortable with the child having some of these devices in the home, let the caseworker know that. Say, you feel uncomfortable with it. You have house rules, specific house rules. And when it comes to cell phones, I don't think any child under the age of 13 should have a cell phone. Now, we live in a world, in a society where everybody seems to have a cell phone, but we also know that the frontal cortex does not form fully until the age of 25. Some even say 30, which means children are not making mature decisions. And there is no way a child, even 13 years of age, is making mature decisions when it comes to online technology, when it comes to those type of devices. That means those predators could be luring them in with false hopes and false promises, because these children are the most vulnerable children, right? And the kids might be hiding this from you, and again, maybe making some poor decisions when it comes to that. So I would encourage you to pick up the book, Keeping Foster Children Safe Online. Again, it's full with lots of resources and information I think that you're going to like. All right, hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, here for the next 20 minutes answering your questions. We do it every Tuesday night here, 7 to 7:30 p.m. live. I want to say hello to Lee. Lee, thank you for joining us tonight. I see that Murray is here tonight, and I see that Karen is here. Hey, glad you guys are all here with us tonight. Danny's here, of course, as well. Danny, glad you're here with us tonight as well. So whatever your questions is, get those fingers flying. Whatever you need help with, whatever you're struggling with as a foster parent, let us know. We're here to answer your questions live. Think of it, again, think of it as your personal foster parenting support group, your personal support group for yourself. Because, again, your friends and family members really don't understand what you do as a foster parent. We do, because we've walked that walk. Okay, Giggle says, how do you get a kid to stop stealing video games and credit cards to buy games? A great question, Giggle. Appreciate you asking. In again, I point back to that book, Keeping Foster Children Safe Online, and I what I did was I interviewed a number of foster parents for that book. It's really, I think, a very, very important book. Probably my most important book. I interviewed a lot of foster parents, and I heard story after story of children in care stealing their credit cards to purchase things online without their foster parents being cognizant of it. How do you stop the kids from stealing your video games? Well, we do have a webinar here at the Foster Care Institute about stealing. You might want to check that out. Um, but there needs to be some harsh punishments, harsh consequences if they are stealing credit cards, because who knows what they are buying. I think you just need to be a little bit, how can I say this? You need to be aware of what they're doing. First of all, make sure your credit cards, those kind of things, the children don't have access to. They simply don't have access to. For example, if you keep in your purse or keep in your wallet, your room should be off limits to the children pretty much at all times for older children. Okay, because if the older kids come into your room, your bedroom, you could be setting yourself up for some false accusations and false allegations. So be very, very careful, that very, very conscious. So keep your credit cards in a very secure spot where they're not allowed to be at. You need to be monitoring their online use, what they're doing online. You've really got to be conscious of that. So that means going and looking at what they're playing, at what they're watching online. If someone says you're invading the child's privacy, I want you to tell them that you're not doing what you're doing. Truly, you are protecting the child from harm. You're not invading their privacy. You are protecting the child. There's a big, big difference there. Okay. All right. So consider that. I really appreciate you asking. Thank you for being here tonight. Let us go on to, I've got some other great questions here. Let me see. Lee says this: better communication with case management and more transparency when taking in a new kiddo. Lee, thank you for asking, Lee. I really appreciate that. We've all had those experiences as a foster parent where we felt we had all the information we needed about the child to make the decision, but sometimes, we didn't get the full information. And I can go on and on and on about that myself as a foster parent when I've taken care of kids. So when it comes to having a child placed in your home and having that information, in my book, The Foster Parenting Manual, I've got a long list of questions that I ask when a child is placed in my home, before a child's placed in my home. When I get that phone call, the phone call that you get, I ask a number of questions because I need to very quickly, like you, determine, is my house the best placement for this child? Is my family the best placement for the child? And is this child a good fit for my family? Is my family a good fit for the child? Is a child a good fit for my family? Can I provide the resources that this child needs at this time? Can I provide the support services this child needs at this time? Can I provide any medical information this child might need at this time? So I ask a number of questions. How old is the child? Why is a child in care? How long might the child be in care for? Does the child have any siblings in care in another family? Does a child have regular visitations? And if so, what does that look like? Is there looking to be TPR? Does a child need to go to a new school? Has a child been bouncing around from school to school to school? Is a child seeing a therapist or a counselor? Those are, and then of course, does a child have any anxieties or disorders or medical issues that I need to be aware of? Those are just some of the questions that I ask. Again, I ask those questions so I can better determine if my home is the best home for that child. Because in truth, my house is not the best placement for every child. Your house is not the best placement for every child. You might be a great placement for children that might not fit in my home, and vice versa. So again, we need to determine quickly when that phone call comes if we are able to care for the child. I'm going to respond to Danny here. Danny says, take time to play. I'm going to say play therapy is so important for so many reasons. Okay. Hey, this is Dr. John with Foster Talk with Dr. John, answering your questions right here live. We do it every Tuesday and Thursday night. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. What do you need help with tonight? Right now, right this very moment, what is the number one thing that you are struggling with. The number one thing you say, Dr. John, I need help with this. Tell me what that is. Let's go back to Lee's question. Better communication with caseworker. Well, Lee, it's really a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street. It's important that you share information with the caseworker. It's important that you do this on a regular basis. Make sure the caseworker has your phone number, your email address, and make sure you have the email and phone number of the caseworker. Share information on a regular basis. That means you are sharing with the caseworker. If you have any concerns anytime, or let's say the child gets sick or had a really bad visitation, whatever it might be, you need to be sharing that information with the caseworker so they can understand that, hey, the communication is coming from you, and they'll feel more comfortable giving you the information that you're asking for because you are doing it on your end. All right. Hey, we got a whole webinar here, Lee, on caseworkers and foster parents working together. It truly is a team effort. Now, Lee, I do want you to understand this. Today's caseworkers truly are overworked and overwhelmed, under-resourced, underpaid. So, tell them how much you appreciate them. Hey, Brittany's here tonight. Brittany, thank you for joining us with Foster Talk with Dr. John. Brittany says this: I've had a child in my home since birth. He is now almost 9 months old. We are moving forward with adoption, but a cousin came about now. They want him. I've been there, Brittany. I have been there. If you're in my book, Fostering Love, One Foster Parent's Journey, you know I've been there. They have passed background check. We have a meeting this Friday for the team to decide who he needs to be with. We have a baby only 10 days apart. They have been always together since they've been born. Do you think they're going to remove him? Well, Brittany, it's hard for me to say because that's really kind of a decision that the judge might make, or maybe a supervisor. And every judge or every supervisor might see things differently. I've had some judges, Brittany, who have been very, very pro reunification. I've also had some judges, Brittany, that I've worked with who have been very, very pro foster parenting. Okay, so it depends upon the judge's decision. It also depends, and their view and their outlook. It also could depend upon the evidence presented to the caseworker or the supervisor or the person in charge of this, or the person making the decision. Perhaps there's a CASA or guardian ad litem giving us some information. It also depends upon the day. Maybe the person in charge is having a rough day and they might make a different kind of decision they may have made in the past. What is important, Brittany, though, is that you give all the information that you feel that decision maker needs. If you think there's a real important bond here, well, let me ask you this, Brittany. Are you planning on adopt? Well, it says you are moving forward with adoption. Okay. Well, Brittany, again, I've been there. So, don't give up hope, and make sure you're documenting everything and provide document, just as Danny says there. Danny says documentation comes in handy for judges and hearings. So provide that documentation. Brittany, any documentation you have, go ahead and provide that to the person in charge. Now, Brittany, if you're unsure what to document or unsure how to document, Brittany, do me this favor. Please do me this favor. Here at the Foster Care Institute, just go to Foster Care Institute, my website, download the book, the Foster Parenting Documentation Book, the Foster Parent book. It has, Brittany, all the forms, all the ledgers, all the logs, all the files that you need, that you must have as a foster, as well as for those times to protect yourself from false accusations, false allegations. It also tells you, Brittany, very, very clearly how to document, what to document, when to document. Brittany, I'm giving a link right here, Brittany. In fact, I'm gonna respond to you right now. Bingo. Bingo. Nope. Goodness gracious me. I didn't fully get captured there. Okay, let's try this and let's try that, and there we go. Okay, Brittany, I've just replied to you and I sent you a link to that documentation book. It's going to be in your best interest to download that book, okay? Okay. Hey, I appreciate you asking, Brittany. Thank you for being here. Hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, leading foster care expert. For 10 more minutes, we're answering your questions, anything and everything, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you need help with, parenting, foster care, adoption, kinship. You want to make sure you get the help that you need. It is hard being a foster parent. I know. 60 plus kids later, I know. PPCat says constant change of caseworker and other people that are handling the case. That's hard. That's hard. I like having a consistency with a caseworker. I like to build a relationship with the caseworker because it's important for them to know my strengths and weaknesses. It's important for them to know my parenting style, what I can have in my house, what my family can handle, and what my family might not be able to handle. They can also take a good pulse of us to see how we're doing. So that can be tricky to be sure. All right, let's see some of your other questions here. I know that some of these questions are coming fast and furious here. I want to make sure we get your answers here. Here, let me go on and see what else you need help with here. Okay, hey, let's see, scrolling down, and I am looking here. Well, okay, I'm trying to find it. Okay. Oh, constant and other people are handling the case. Well, that's why it's so important, Pipa Cat. It's always so important that you really do document everything. So if you do get a different caseworker, that they know well, if you do get a different caseworker, your documentation is able to update them, keep them updated. Okay. Oh, Brittany says the caseworker feels best he stays, but she's saying it's a team decision. It really is. My heart is absolutely breaking. Oh, again, Brittany, I've had 3 adoptions. I've also experienced 4 failed adoptions. I understand exactly what you're going through. I read about in my book, Love and Mayhem. Both babies share a room, and every morning at 6:30 a.m. they talk back and forth. I have documented everything. Good. I have sent them everything. Good. The caseworker called me today and said she wanted to give me a heads up. The team is talking about moving him. Brittany, my heart aches for you, but let them know this. I want you to recognize this, Brittany. I want you to recognize this. Even if that little one is moved, you have planted a very, very important seed in that child. You have nurtured that child. You have cared for that child. You have given that child all of your unconditional love, and that child's going to go with them. They're going to go with your heart. They're going to go with your love. They're going to go with that nurturing. You have changed that infant for that small amount of time they've been with you. You have made a tremendous impact on them. Okay, how do I bring them all up at once? This is my daughter Cassie here. Cassie, can you say hello?
Hello.
Hello. Okay. No, you can't curl your hair right now, honey. Okay, I'll be upstairs in a little bit. Thank you so much, baby. All right, say bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, honey. All right, that's what it's like when you're parenting, right? So there you go. Danny says, we'll pray for you and the child. Absolutely right. How do I bring them all up to speed once they change? Hippie Cat asks. That documentation. That documentation helps. Check out that book. I'm going to send you a link right here. Okay, I'm going to send you a link right now to that um, documentation book. Again, that documentation book tells you exactly how to document, what to document, and it has it all there. Thanks, Danny. So check out that documentation book. It's really going to be very helpful for you. I have no doubt. All right, hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo. Answering your questions a few more minutes here. Whatever you need help with, whatever you're struggling with right now as a foster parent, we want to make sure that you get the help that you need because foster parenting is hard. Foster parenting is hard. How many of you have gone through what Brittany's gone through? You have, you have perhaps experienced like me. Perhaps you've experienced a failed adoption. Again, I've experienced 4 failed adoptions, and I go into detail about that in my book, Love and Mayhem. If you saw my TED Talk, you know about one of those adoptions. It's hard. It can be heartbreaking, to be sure, without a doubt. Okay. Fifi, I appreciate you tons. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo. I want to make sure that you get the help that you need tonight as you care for children in need. Let's see if we can get to a few more of your questions here. All right, somebody asks, where did that question go? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find it here. Somebody had a great question here earlier about finances. Well, as I said earlier, you don't have to be rich to be a foster parent. You don't have to have a lot of money to be a foster parent. You don't have to have a big house to be a foster parent. You don't have to be married to be a foster parent. You just have to have a tremendous heart. Think of it as a tremendous heart. Danny says there'll be great information resources shared at the Advanced Foster Care virtual topic next month as well. Thank you so much. Fifi Cat says, is there a certain way to address a judge? Absolutely, with the utmost respect and dignity and integrity. Absolutely right. You've got to give them the ultimate amount of respect and kindness. And understand that they're human as well. But yes, and I've been in court several times fighting for the children in my home. It's always been an interesting process, to be sure. Hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. Danny brought up a great point. We're going to have in the month of June, we're going to have an advanced foster care virtual summit, 1 week long with many great foster care advocates. Danny happens to be one of them. I'll be presenting as well. Hopefully you're going to be able to attend that. And it's absolutely free. It's absolutely free. For more information, just continue to watch this page or get my newsletter. Brittany, if you don't get my newsletter, Fifi, you don't get my newsletter, others of you, if you don't get my newsletter, type in I want newsletter, put your email address. I want newsletter, put your email address. We'll make sure that you get the foster care news of the week, the foster care webinar of the week, the foster care 101 video tips of the week, the foster care motivational moment of the week, the feature article of the week, and that and so much more, absolutely free. So type in I want newsletter, put your email address. We'll make sure you get this week's newsletter tomorrow morning, and look for a brand new webinar coming out in the next week. Fetal alcohol spectral disorder, FASD. Okay, Danny says he loves the newsletter. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you, Danny. I thank you for those kind words. Yeah, so if you don't get the newsletter, type in I want newsletter and look for a brand new webinar. This will be webinar, I believe, number 68, 69, or 70, right around there. Fetal alcohol spectral disorder, part 1. Part 2 will be coming out in the fall. And then I believe we have another one coming up in late fall about neglect, right here at the Foster Care Institute. Fifi will get that newsletter to you tomorrow morning. Please look for it then. All right, hey, we are about out of time. Really appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. If you have an additional question you want to squeeze in real quick, real fast, we'll see if we get to it. Hey, this is Foster Talk with Dr. John. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, leading foster care expert, foster parent of 60-plus kids. So glad. Hey, Kathleen, glad you're here this tonight, Kathleen. Thank you for joining us. So glad you're here this tonight, everybody. Hey, we do it every Tuesday night, 7 to 7:30 p.m. right here live. So what I want you to do is I want you to not only join us next week, but invite your friends and family members, those who are foster parents, those who are kinship parents, those who are adoptive parents. Encourage them to join us as well. Want to make sure that they can be part of this as well. I'm thinking about putting this session at 8 o'clock at night instead of 7:30, 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. What do you think? Go ahead and leave a comment in your time slot in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you think it is. Okay, hey, for the Foster Care Institute, I'm Dr. John DeGarmo. Thank you so much for being here. We will be here next Tuesday night, maybe 7, maybe 8. Depends upon what you have to say. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for all that you do as you care for the most vulnerable children.